Hola, yo soy Jadiel Ariel y soy de parte de Youth for Climate en la parte de comunicaciones y hoy tenemos una pequeña entrevista con alguien que fue a la COP. So we are going to get started. Hi, nice to meet you. First of all, I would like to introduce yourself, please, if you can, if you may.
Perfect. Thank you so much. My name is Jadiel Gómez. I'm an economist. And as you mentioned, yes, we went to the last real COP in Madrid to participate as members of Tec de Monterrey. So becoming the very first time that a Mexican university was attending a conference of climate change.
Oh, that's so interesting because I would like to know that how does the idea of being there born? I mean, like, yeah, how does it born?
Perfect. Well, I made a partnership with another professor that used to be part of the Mexican government on the issue of environmental protection. So he went several times to the conferences of, if I don't remember wrong, Cancun, Doha, and Warsaw. So he was there, but as a delegate from Mexico. So he told me, like, there is a chance for us as professors and students to participate at the Conference of Climate Change. We just needed to be observers. So either you get kind of like the sponsorship from another NGO, or you ask permission to become that NGO that go as an observer. So that was the beginning. And also, well, I was a journalist in the conference of Copenhagen. So like both of us have ever, like at least once in our lifetime, we have been in a conference of climate change. So that was like, okay, but now that will be super cool. Instead of being a journalist or part of the actual committee, like the delegation of a country, to go as an observer. So that was like our work in 2019. And just in a nutshell, we got the invitation from other NGOs, one from France and one from Germany, and they allowed us to go as well in their name on the behalf. So we were Tec de Monterrey and another NGO being represented at the conference.
Wow, well, that's impressive. Also, I would like to know what were the difficulties to get in. So, like, what were the main difficulties?
Yes, for sure. I mean, all the NGOs and all the observers got a certain amount of participants, or at least what they are called the badges. So this ID that you need to show in order to go inside the conference. So for us, it was at the beginning easier to get one from France and Germany because the conference is supposed to be held in Chile. So they couldn't come, like it was too far away, and they were like, no, we don't want to use a lot of like time or money into visiting Santiago de Chile. But then as the conference changed to Madrid, then they were like, okay, well, it's close by. We just need to take a bus or something like that to go to Madrid. So they told us now, instead of having, we're supposed to have 4 spaces, and 2 other students supposed to come with us. But then they told us, like, sorry, guys, we are going to send our own people. So another NGOs started to say, like, no to us. And that's why we started to do the application as Tec de Monterrey in order to have those spaces. But unfortunately, we couldn't make it on time. So the difficulties are always, like, who is going to sponsor you? Usually, for example, the next conference is going to be in Glasgow in Scotland. So the Europeans are not going to give us spaces, but Americans will. So if we know an NGO in Ecuador or in Brazil, they might going to give us the space because not all of them will travel, or from Thailand or Australia because it's so far. So that's kind of like the trade. Usually most of the volunteers or students from around the world are doing that strategy. Like they contact NGOs from another continent that is far from the hosting place, and they look for a space. So usually that's kind of like the easiest way.
Yeah, like I think it's so difficult to find a space then for you go in and get in. Yeah, it looks so difficult.
It is, and just to add, you can have 1 week or 2 weeks in the conference, because the conference lasted for 2 weeks. So, for example, if we are like 5, we can say like one spot will work for the 5 of us. So one will go 3 days, another one will go for 1 week, and so on. So you can also play with that. And I met some Mexicans that were doing that. Like they got only one spot, so there were like 3 of them going to Madrid. One was the first week, and the second week was divided between these 2 guys. So you can also play that card. And it's also a little bit difficult, but it works.
Yeah, but it's a way to, get in and be in there. Yeah. And in all of this project, in this little these circumstances, what was your role?
Okay, well, first, the main one was taking care of another student. You know that he was a minor by that time, so I was taking care of him as part of Tec de Monterrey. But then as well, we were first attending the main press conferences. So we wanted to know how the other countries were working on climate change, but also there were some conferences from universities and research centers. So how to collaborate with it. So we went to many, like I guess that there were at least 25 press conferences. We also went to workshops, especially my student, because it was a little bit more curious on that regard, because usually in the conferences you have 2 areas, the green zone and the blue zone. Usually the blue one is open to only people with the badge, so the official ones, and the green one is open to everybody. So you can go to both if you have the badge as an observer. And in the green one, you have a lot of nice conferences, workshops, activities, even like you can play, because there are like some games and so on, and you can even win some prizes. But in the blue one, that's only for officials. So over there, we were in press conferences. We went to meetings of the official representatives, and we got really lucky to be at the main plenary session. So over there, we were as media, we just entered like saying that we were media. And we met the Secretary General of the United Nations and all the delegates from all the countries that are part of the COP. So, that we shouldn't be there technically, but we enter. So, but officially I can say that we work with the press conferences and working with universities, because they create a lot of forums and they wanted to listen how other universities around the world are working on climate change. So basically that was our main task. And then we figured out to enter the plenary session. And that was amazing because we met Greta Thunberg in one of the press conferences, but also we met the General Secretary of the United Nations, Mr. Guterres, over there. So it was really, really amazing.
Yeah, and it sounds, I would love to do that. That's my dream.
We're doing the best to go this year, so I will let you know.
Yeah, I'm so interested in that. And also, so if it is the green zone and the blue zone, I can imagine that the green zone is for the projects or something like that. Yes?
Yes, exactly. If you have a project to present to the whole international community, you can go to the green zone. And over there is published. This year, they were focused on energy because Spain is pretty cool at doing green energy. They have projects from Iberdrola, for example, that they are pretty cool. So they also we can place the green room as one big area with companies and with ministers and like the government that is hosting, but also small areas where universities or other companies or even citizens are showing projects on climate change. So for instance, one day was about wind energy, another one was solar energy, and so on. So it is open to the public. The main problem is like normal citizens can only go one day. because they wanted to avoid overcrowdedness. But if you get the observer badge, you can go to both areas, the green and the blue, all the time that you need it. So that's kind of like the cool feature, because if you get bored in the green area, or there are so many secret meetings, because that happens. Like sometimes the delegates get together, but in secret, so we are not allowed to go inside. So in that free period of time, we just tend to go to the green area and take a look on what is going on.
Wow, yeah. And since you were in you were allowed to be in the green zone, what was the project that caught your attention? Like you saw it and you said, "Wow, that's so incredible," and that's incredible. That's wonderful.
There was one from Universidad de Valencia that they made a good partnership to create kind of like a new urban area in Kigali, Rwanda. So they were designing the new part of the city, but everything was based on renewable energies with the support of the government of Spain, the European Union, and the government of Rwanda. But the great thing is, like, they were not big companies involved. They were just students. Like, they were architects, engineers, and social workers doing this project. So there were not like fancy names, a lot of money. They were like the students actually going to Rwanda, looking for how the whole city could look like in the future, talk with the community. And because of this dialogue of the people that need the new urban area and the students, they created an amazing project. But the most beautiful thing was that they were students. They were no more than 24 years old. And they were like actually showing to the whole community that it was possible to create new cities without all the money that supposed to be like, oh yeah, green energy is expensive. They created with the partnership of the people over there. So that was the first day. I was like, holy, it is possible to do this. It was part of the social service. So like here in Mexico, that we need to do a social service like 500 hours per our whole bachelor. Imagine that they were doing that, but actually in an African country. It was amazing. And the teacher also went there, but there was no like this idea that the European, I'm better than you and I will show you how to do the things. It was mostly like, let's work together, because with the knowledge that they acquired in Kigali, they could transform also neighborhoods in Valencia. So it was kind of like a super amazing understanding, like, yes, people in Kigali are way much more intelligent by doing basic stuff, such as putting your clothes in the sun to get dry. Not like in Europe, like everything is like drying in a machine. So that partnership was amazing to create solutions for Europeans and for Africans coming from the people. So that was great.
Yeah, and that's something admirable that, I mean, they were 20 years old and they were making all this stuff. And yeah, it's so admirable, like seeing my generation and then like my generation and the old generation making this kind of stuff. It's like, it makes me feel like so proud of them. And also about talking about projects, how do you feel about Mexico's position, about Mexico proposals?
Okay, sadly enough, there are no universities or colleges that, Mexican ones, that got a chance to be as an observer. So if everything goes good, because right now of the pandemic, we don't have a lot of communication with the IPCC, or if they are still like doing a lot of other stuff. If we became the first university to send a project, well, that will be amazing. But usually what is going on is like the hosting country is inviting the universities to show several projects in the conference. Mexico hosts the COP21 in 2011 in Cancun. So over there, I mean, yes, Cancun, like a lot of people went just for having holidays, but the issue is like over there, UNAM, Politécnico Nacional, Universidad de Guadalajara, Monterrey, and Tec de Monterrey, and WAP, they showed several projects. So usually works like that. Like the hosting country is inviting their own universities, public and private, to show what is going on. So we are hoping for this year in Glasgow to see how the universities in Scotland are working. But also we can present big projects over there as long as we are observers of the IPCC. So right now we cannot show that until we have the green light, because for instance, usually big universities, like in the last conference in Madrid, there was MIT, there was Harvard, there was Oxford, there was Complutense de Madrid. So there were like big companies, big universities showing projects, but they have like 20 years working with the IPCC. So they have like in a special place. But it's not impossible. It's not like only big universities. There was one from India. There were 5 from South Africa. That was amazing. There was one from Brazil. There was Universidad de Buenos Aires from Argentina. So there are always chances to be and show the projects from our places, plus the hosting country.